Welcome back to Holy Chit Chat. We are in Matthew chapter 5. We covered up through verse 16 on our first part, and now we are getting ready to start part 2. Yes, verse 17 is where we'll begin. And this is the fulfillment of the law. I could talk about this forever.
Oh, just like 17 through 20?
It's just so much. So let's go ahead and...
We're not going to do that today. We're going to try to...
What are you saying?
We're going to go a little past 20, so we got to...
No, I know. So I'm going to just go ahead and read, and then we'll go ahead and unpack. So this is Jesus. He's still speaking. This is the Sermon on the Mount, and he is speaking to his disciples and a crowd that has gathered. So it says, "Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them. I tell you the truth, until heaven and earth disappear, not the smallest letter nor the least stroke of a pen will by any means disappear from the law until everything is accomplished." I think I'm going to pause there for a minute.
I was going to say,
Let me make a note where I stop
right
so I
there.
don't forget. So, what do you think about that? There's probably that wants to read that in this other version too, just because it talks about, this one may actually talk about jot and tittle, which I just love those words.
Yeah, I was going to say, mine says not an iota, right?
Yep.
Not a dot.
Yep. So, which means that the smallest markings of the Hebrew alphabet is what he's talking about. And one is simply like what we would talk about as being simply an accent mark. Those are some very tiny marks that he is saying that he's not come to fulfill.
He's not come to abolish.
He's not come to abolish, but to fulfill. Thank you.
Because weren't they thinking that he was coming, that he was going to set them free from these laws?
I don't know. That's interesting. I don't know. To be honest with you, I'm not sure if they had ever even thought about that. I think that they're thinking about being set free from
the Romans?
The Romans and from other countries and world rulers that have been trying to take them over for like forever, right? But he's talking about something totally different. I think that, and I think too that, this is just my own commentary, my own thinking again, is that many times in some churches that the emphasis is not placed on the Old Testament, and specifically the first 5 books, the Torah. So,
do you think that's because of all the laws that were set?
Well, there is a lot of laws in it. I mean, it's like when you look at that and say, do this, do that, do this, do that, don't do this.
Don't like that.
Well, and not only that too, but I think that there may be often a misunderstanding of it as to what the purpose of it is. And so we have a tendency, I think, to just kind of like go past it. Plus, as being believers, because of the fact that we know the rest of the story, is that we're not held to the law.
No.
So if we're not held to the law, why do we need to know what the law says? But he's not talking about, but he's talking about the fact that he's not abolishing the law, but he is fulfilling it, which I'm like...
2 different things.
Right? Totally different things.
Does that just put more, like, reason why we need to know these things? It just puts it even more...
Well...
Jesus's purpose?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Plus, not only that too, but some of the things that he's getting ready to cover in the Sermon on the Mount has to do with the law. So when he's talking about these different things, as we're going to cover shortly, that when he's talking about things like murder and adultery and divorce and oaths and things like that, all of those things are things that are talked about in the Old Testament. Like I think it was Deuteronomy that specifically mentions divorce, which we'll talk about.
Yes. You're on 19.
So he is saying, right, so he is saying that he's not here to do away with it, which also too, I'm like thinking, if you were Jewish and if you were trying to keep the law, I mean, we know, and they would know as well, there's no way anyone can perfectly keep the law except for Jesus. Who perfectly kept the law, right?
Yes.
So it's impossible to do that. How awesome it would be to be freed from that, right? I just think that would be amazing to be freed from it. But at the same time,
Yeah, because at this point, we know the story. And I have to stop sometimes and realize we have the whole picture, but then
right.
they didn't. They didn't know
No.
what Jesus was coming here to do in the sense of like, like
And I think
him
the
dying on the
original
cross.
idea of being free of the law was more intended to be able to keep it thoughtlessly and to just live in the law and to be free within the law.
To keep it thoughtlessly, that's really interesting. But that's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff. Like what, 600 and something are the amount of laws. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. So, okay, so let's go on a little bit more. So anyone who breaks one of the least of these commandments and teaches others to do the same will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. So if anyone who breaks one of the least of these commandments, that would have had to been everyone.
Because you're going to tell me there wasn't.
Right, that would be anyone. That would be anyone who would do that. So it's kind of like re-emphasizing that fact that we don't have the ability to be righteous in and of ourselves, right? And teaches others to do the same will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. Teaches others to do the same. You don't have to do that.
No. Yep.
But whoever practices and teaches these commands will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. So that's interesting because he's like, is he talking about all of them? Or is he talking about just
specific ones?
The moral code, the 10 Commandments. So it's like, okay, so the 10 Commandments. Like it's real hard to think of anybody that I would say that says, thou shalt not murder. Nah, it's okay. No, I would never say that. I mean, that to me, that's such an easy one, right? Honor your father and mother. Right? No, I know because, no, but seriously, because depending on what our family situations are, there would be times that I could see that somebody would say that. So how do you honor a parent that you don't get along with or that causes issues? So just something to be thinking about. It's like, how do you, like, is there a way to still honor them?
Maybe not. Would you still be honoring them in the sense of like you're not going out of your way to cause issue with them or badmouth them, things like that? Like you can be like,
separate,
but not being so negative about them and things like that,
and not being ugly towards them, even in the midst of possible ugliness. You know, so it's like, you know, to be able to still, you know, to, in a sense, to still, I guess I would say, to see them as Jesus would see them.
That's so hard sometimes.
Well, it is, because of the fact that we have histories with people, right? And it's hard to sometimes do that. But I would think that would be a way.
They want us to do that. He wants us to let go of that. He wants us to not hold on to those things.
But that can be really hard.
It is.
Yeah. So it's like, what do we do in the midst of that? How do we still honor but stay healthy, I guess? I mean, is a good way to put that. So
where's that balance?
We can talk about that. That could be like a
full side,
like its own little thing. How do we do this kind of a thing? Okay, so anyway,
we at verse 20.
Yeah, thank you. For I tell you that unless your righteousness surpasses that of the Pharisees and the teachers of the law, you will certainly not enter the kingdom of heaven. All right, so you got the Pharisees and the teachers of the law. You have Paul as one of those, the Pharisee of Pharisees that did all of the things he was supposed to have done. Right? That I can see people being like, my righteousness does not exceed that of them because it's all in that outward.
Yeah, it's not in the heart.
Right.
But he has just recently walked right before.
Yeah. So I'm going to just read that one. For I tell you that unless your righteousness surpasses that of the Pharisees and the teachers of the law, you will certainly not enter the kingdom of heaven. We can't exceed the righteousness of the Pharisees. we can't exceed any righteousness on our own.
No.
We don't have the ability to. I know, and that may be an unusual thought sometimes for people, that surely if I do enough good things, if I stay out of trouble, all of those things, if I have clean living, surely that's going to be righteous.
But that doesn't always mirror, like, someone can live a certain way and conduct themselves and put on an act, really.
Mm-hmm.
But doesn't mean that's what's in their heart.
Yeah, it's the outward.
That's just them showing on the outside of this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and not what God's gonna see what's on your heart.
Yeah. I definitely think he's getting their attention.
Mm-hmm.
I
think he's trying to scare them a little.
I don't know.
But, like, I wouldn't say in a funny way, but, like, hey.
I think Jesus had a sense of humor.
Yeah.
But I think that they would understand. It's like if they're seeing the Pharisees and the teachers of the law, and they're the ones who are telling people how to keep the law, right? And they see that as very righteous because it's what it looks like. And he's saying that that unless your righteousness surpasses that, well, how could I possibly surpass that? I can't. So I think it's like setting them up for another part of the story.
That, or is he hinting at the Pharisees and the scribes don't have it in their heart. They're just doing the motions and doing this, where he's saying to be, unless you're, it exceeds that, meaning you're not just doing it just because it's in your heart. That's how you can become more
Which
righteous,
I think he's getting ready to unpack. Because I think that that's part of what he's going to get ready to talk about. It's like we're going to be looking at the outward idea of what the law is, but that he's going to bring it then more into a heart attitude about it.
There's sometimes going through scripture, and this is just me, that I'm just like, can you just put it black and white for me, please? Like, please. But I get, like, also, like...
But you mean, wait. You mean like a do's and don'ts list?
Yeah, like, can you just, or like, the parables sometimes. I'm like, can you just give it to me a little bit to, like, dumb it down for me just for a minute on certain things, but...
No, I get it, because it can be really confusing. It's like, what?
What did you say?
What are you talking about?
I don't know. But I think also, I look at times that I'm just like, I wish he would have just gave it to me. But if he was to just give it to us, would I go back and read it again?
And would it be completely overwhelming?
Mm-hmm.
Like almost kind of like is telling it in a parable, kind of like a gentle,
easy,
like he kind of points something out here for you that you might not have been
just
thinking.
calling us out, being
yes,
like, here you go.
Yes. Had a conversation with someone once. Someone. You know who you are. Talking about the fact that that they wished that the church that they attend would just call people out on their sin. And I was like,
could you imagine sitting there?
I don't think you really want that. I mean, I kind of understood what they were getting at, right? Because there were just different things that were happening that it says, just speak to it. Just like be really straight, kind of like you were saying.
Yeah.
Just and I said, I don't think anyone would want that. I don't think anyone would want that.
There's days that there's Sundays that I go in and they're like, Mike's up there preaching and I'm like, are you looking? Like,
somebody tell me something,
right? And I'm like, man. But he knew I needed to hear that day, you know? And but
that's also not pointing out your very specific thing.
It's not.
It's just a general thought process that is, for some reason, it's honing in on whatever that is for you that day. Yes, I've had that happen.
And that's overwhelming. So to be up there in the church being like, let me just give it all out to you. This is what I'm calling you. I would not want that.
I would think that we would all shrink under the seats. Anyway, so we're thankful for the parables.
Chit-chat.
Holy chit-chat.
All right. You want to get into anger?
Yeah, sure.
Or do you have anything else on the law?
No, I'm good. I'm good. So the next one, the heading says murder.
Mine says anger. It was a little bit
Oh,
nicer.
yours says anger. See, there we go. It's murder. It's just like, I mean, that's the difference right there. So yours is saying anger and mine is saying murder. For the exact same part. Okay,
Yep.
so let's go ahead and read this. And if you find that in your version, if it has
it's a little different,
yeah, just
we'll do.
shout it out.
Mm-hmm.
Like shout it.
Woohoo.
Not quite like that. Okay, so you have heard that it was said to the people long ago, do not murder, and anyone who murders will be subject to judgment. But I tell you that anyone who is angry with his brother will be subject to judgment. Again, anyone who says to his brother, Raka, what does yours say?
Whoever insults his brother will be liable.
Okay. Is answerable to the Sanhedrin.
To the council.
Thank you. But anyone who says, you fool,
Mm-hmm.
will be in danger of the fire of hell.
Will be liable to the hell of fire.
Ouch. So my guess is that they are understanding the commandment about murder, right? Mm-hmm. That you're not supposed to murder, and anyone who murders will be subject to judgment.
Yep.
Right? They would get that.
Yeah.
But I tell you that anyone who is angry with his brother will be subject to judgment.
That could be scary. I get angry with my fellow brothers in Christ and sisters.
I shouldn't laugh about that. It was just funny the way that you said that, my brother.
But I think we all do. So
I don't think it's scary. As simple as just being angry, because Jesus got angry.
He did.
God gets angry.
I think it's that.
There's appropriate
Is it
anger.
like holding on to it and not letting it?
Having the desire, even if it's just fleeting and momentary, and just that carnal kind of rage that
like you're
one
headed
can feel,
towards,
wanting
like, I want to murder you.
Like not to have the thing in your heart that you would ever even cross that path.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And is it also like this setting him up to, like, you need to forgive?
Could be heading down to that place. I think it's interesting that just that whole idea about calling someone a fool. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know. I'm just like, that's.
What would that? I'm trying to think of, like, you fool.
I wonder if it has to do with the fact that we are all of us, everyone, are image bearers. Mm-hmm. We are each created as an image bearer. And when we put a label on someone that lessens, because I mean, just to say you fool is basically lessening who that person is. It's labeling them as something that is not what God designed them to be. There was a time, this was, I don't know, probably about 10, 12 years ago, having a conversation with somebody and talking about the fact that as image bearers, that we are all image bearers. And I thought at that particular time, I think God just really used that in my life, because there would be people that I'd just be like,
I think we've all been there, Deidre. It's okay.
I don't want to spend time with that person, or whatever the situation is, or just somebody that there was conflict with, or somebody that was living such a different way, right? But being able to stop and say, all of us are created in His image, whether you've realized it or not, whether you have a relationship with Jesus or not, you are still an image bearer, because that's how we were created. And so that's a pretty big.
By saying that you're
right, because it's almost like you're insulting a creation of God.
I haven't looked at it that way. That's
oh gosh. No, I know, right? I'm really sorry, but like I was just like, man, that's hard. And to just kind of stop and think about.
And He's also not saying that you're getting a little slap on the wrist for it.
Yeah.
I mean, He's liable to the hell of fire.
Right.
Thoughts for your drive home.
Mystery man.
Mystery man.
So there was
Ponder on that, guys.
right. Was this
Oh,
the one that I had sent you the
you
note
did.
on? Okay.
You did.
So what I thought was so interesting is that when they were talking, a commentary that about this, and I don't have that, I don't think in here. I was going to see if it was like,
phone.
yeah, I do too. But it's fine. I think I can still communicate it. Hopefully.
Do you want to grab the phone?
No, leave it be.
No?
It's fine.
Okay.
So, in a commentary that I was reading, honestly, I think it might have been the John MacArthur commentary, and he was explaining what this fire thing was, and they would have been familiar with this. So, outside of this old city of Jerusalem, there was an area that back sometime before Jesus, because I don't remember the dates exactly, that it was used to actually sacrifice children. And like on a regular basis, they were sacrificing children. So if you can just kind of stop, not that anybody really wants to stop and do this, but just what that would be like when you talk about the weeping and gnashing of teeth, of that. It's kind of like I don't even want to go down that too much because it is just so horrifying to me to think of. In that same place had actually also become a place where they burned trash or rubbish, as I think it was written, right? So maybe not necessarily at the same time, but this would have been something that would have been used for, right?
Even if it was before
Probably
or
back
after.
when it was, before Joshua came into the land.
Yeah,
sort of thing. When it was all still held by the Canaanites.
Right, the Canaanites. And so it's like, so that would have been on the same place, right? And that the commentary was talking about the fact that these rubbish fires, and I like the word rubbish. I don't know, rubbish. That sometimes because of the sun, that they would self-ignite. Like all of a sudden, and I'm just like, wow, when you stop and think about like we've talked about this before about the whole how do we picture things because of art and things like that, like Dante's Inferno and things like that, where you see like fire that is just doing that. That's what they're understanding. So
because they've seen or at least have the stories of the rubbish erupting,
right? And knowing what the history of that is, the sacrifice of children,
knowing that. And they're being told, you call someone you fool, that this is going to happen.
I'd be like,
terrified. I'm not talking to anyone. I'm going to sit in my house. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to, but like, how do you go about conflict at that point? Like, do you think people were more cautious on what they said towards each other because of that?
been like, oh, and actually even what's interesting too, and like I said, God has used different people in my life to point out things in my life. And thank you so much. Truly. But that it's kind of like, because of that, it's like, not only do I not want to call anyone a fool, and I'm okay saying that because I'm explaining it. It's not like I'm saying like a cuss word kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, side note, when our daughter was young, she came home from school one day and she was so upset because there was a kid in her class that used the S word. And I was like, what? Yes. I said, it's okay. You can say it this one time. They said stupid. Oh, and I was like, oh my gosh, I just love that. Yep. So, but anyway, but I don't ever want to do that because of, this being pointed out. And I don't like to hear anybody else say it. And I don't like to hear anybody say it of themselves.
Yeah, because it's all, putting your own self down.
So you're being an idiot. No, you're not. Don't do that. I'll have to just get a little sign or something that says hell and be like, this is what's going to happen. Because it just drives me crazy. Thank you for listening to my side notes.
Yes.
And you as well.
Of course.
Okay, so goes on in verse 23. Therefore, if you are offering your gift at the altar, and there remember that your brother has something against you, leave your gift there in front of the altar. First go and be reconciled to your brother, and then come and offer your gift. Settle matters quickly with your adversary who is taking you to court. Do it while you are still with him on the way, or he may hand you over to the judge, and the judge may hand you over to the officer, and you may be thrown into prison. I tell you the truth, you will not get out until you have paid the last penny.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a bit to unpack there.
Oh, just a little side note on my little thing, penny, paid a penny.
Yeah.
Down here, mine is saying that's a day's pay for a worker.
Hmm.
So full day's pay.
It's a chunk of time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's interesting. So in verse 23, where it says, therefore, if you are offering your gift at the altar and there remember that your brother has something against you. I think so many times, and I don't know if it's that there's another verse that maybe I'm confusing with this, but it's not me having something against my brother.
It's him having something
So
against you.
you know that your brother has something against you.
So you try.
Why would your brother have something against you that you would know about if you hadn't done something?
Mm-hmm. So you need to go in, fix that.
Right.
Ask for forgiveness.
And then go on.
And then go on.
Which I think would actually be a very pleasant way to live. Although,
it makes me think.
Why do we not do that, though? Like, if we know that somebody has something against us.
Pride.
Yeah.
That's also admitting that you're in the wrong.
Yeah.
People don't like to do that.
Of course, they could have something against you that's not right.
But
right? That's my hope.
But you can still go and try to, at least, I feel like if you go and try to address the situation, try to fix it, even if they don't fix it, you've done your part. You have opened that conversation, you've started it, like, hey, how can we fix this? And there's going to be times that someone's going to be like, there's no fixing this. I think
you've at least done
what you
can do.
Not saying that you've went and been like, oh, you're not, like, you have to try. I don't know, it makes me think of always hearing, never go to bed mad at your spouse. So I knocked the mic over, sorry. My bad, guys.
We did that when we were first married.
Go to bed mad?
No. We never went to bed mad.
Mm-hmm.
If we had to stay up till 4 o'clock, we never went to bed mad. And then we got older. And so then we learned how to be like, are you okay if we bookmark this? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm okay if we bookmark this. Are you really okay if we bookmark it? Yes, I'm really okay. Can we pray? And the big thing was that if we can pray, then we know that we're good.
Yep.
So, because otherwise it's like you just become exhausted. Mm-hmm. So I don't think that that's what that verse means, is to stay up all night until you have settled it. But at the same time, being able to come to a point where you can do that, make amends, or at least,
you were trying at least.
Right.
Even if you had to bookmark it, you were trying. And I think that's what he's getting at, is like, you need to make the effort.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So settle matters quickly with your adversary. I think this is just good advice. It's like, on your way to court, figure out what you have to do in order to make this happen, because you don't want to get there and then have them hand you over to the officers. Mm-hmm. It's like you could get thrown into prison and you're not even going to get out of there until you've paid every last penny. Mm-hmm. So, all right, we're continuing on, right?
Yeah, and for a day's pay,
right?
That's a lot.
Yeah. So figure it out.
Yeah, get it done.
Do what it needs to.
Tackle onto lust.
Mine says adultery.
Interesting.
I know.
Interesting.
It's almost like mine is covering the Old Testament, what the law would have been known, and yours is covering where Jesus takes it.
I kind of like that, though, for this.
Yeah, I do too. This is kind of cool. I like it. Okay.
All right.
You have heard that it was said, do not commit adultery. But I tell you that anyone who looks at a woman lustfully has already committed adultery with her in his heart. If your right eye causes you to sin, gouge it out and throw it away. It is better for you to lose one part of your body than for your whole body to be thrown into hell. Hell, there's that, like, there it is. Oh. Now we have a picture of it. It is not good. And if your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off and throw it away. It is better for you to lose one part of your body than for your whole body to go into hell. Mm-hmm. 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 I don't even know what to say. I mean, I have little things I could say, but I'm thinking, they know the laws about adultery, and then we'll get into the one on divorce in our next
We can do that.
episode.
Yeah, we'll
right.
do that. We'll have to pick it up on that for sure.
And I think the whole adultery thing, I mean, I think that's, I don't know. To me, that's pretty clear.
Oh,
right?
100%.
So, but the lust thing is interesting.
I was just thinking with the lust thing, and it's kind of giving us a theme that we've talked on this whole time.
Yeah.
It's in your heart.
Yeah.
It's what's inside.
Yeah.
Because you giving a look, not everyone's going to catch that. God knows what's in your heart on that.
Yeah.
And
I've heard different teachings on this. It's like the second look is the one. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, you know, I mean, that's like, well, what about the third one? You know, yeah. I mean, just like,
yeah. So why is it that, yeah.
So it's a heart attitude.
I feel like it's a heart attitude.
I do think it's also interesting that this is addressed mostly to men, mm-hmm. right? Whoever looks at a woman. Mm-hmm. But I think that this is like an unspoken thing. I think women think that they're too. Right, but I think that many times women think that they're not guilty of this.
No. Ladies, y'all.
She called you.
Sorry.
Wow. I mean, that's not at all what I was expecting.
Sorry, I think it's equal. And the reason I say that is I have had women in my life who have blamed men. Well, this is what they do. They are physical beings, and it's just like, but you guys can still lust in the way of like you're wanting a certain type of feeling towards someone. Mm. That's still in the same as the man looking at another woman type deal. I don't know. I get worked up a little bit sometimes when gal friends want to bring
stuff like that. It's like,
I'm like, hold on. Not saying that I'm out there like going to bat for men. I'm not going to bat for either side. We're both in the wrong.
So I think, and I realize that what I'm getting ready to say may catch some people, but I'm going to go ahead and do, because this was, and I will speak to it from my own experience, because I don't want to just say you can't be doing this kind of stuff, but just from that. So I would say at different times in my life and in the earlier part of my marriage, I had no problem at all reading romance novels. Mm-hmm. It was just kind of the thing that I did, mm-hmm. right? And then I don't know what happened, but there was at some point that I thought to myself, I need to stop mm-hmm. reading these romance novels. And they weren't bad. They weren't like, you know, like they're really, I don't even know what you call those romance novels. It wasn't like those ones. It was more the Christian ones. Which still I'm like, oh my goodness. But I think what happens is that we may not necessarily lust with our eyes, mm-hmm. but I think that we can lust with our minds.
Oh, 100%.
And that it's like we can get a picture of this. And I think that there are things that feed that. Mm-hmm. So I think, and for me, I knew that I had come to the point, and I'm guessing it was just a God thing, that it was like reading those things fed
mm-hmm.
yes, that part of my mind. Mm-hmm. And then what happened is that I found myself being dissatisfied with what God had provided me in my husband, because it doesn't matter how good your husband is. He's never going to be as good as one of those guys books, in those romance novels, right? Because they're not real. They
aren't like that.
But they're not real, right?
At all. Now, one of those romance books are written by men either, so.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That would be weird.
Well, yes, but I feel like they don't portray men correctly.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I don't think so. It's just all the whole bunch of it.
But even with not the romance, we can grew up on Disney princesses.
Well, yeah, and so
there was supposed to be this fairy tale. I mean, I was more of the animal kingdom, like.
But I think that
and stuff. But like I remember my cousin and her Prince Charming's gonna come in and sweep you away. And I'm like,
yeah, which are fun. I think those can be fun. But right. But I think that can be what some of the differences. Mm-hmm. I think that men are visual. Mm-hmm. I think women are much more in their minds. And so they think, oh, I'm not guilty of this.
Yep. Mm. But remember, God sees our heart, our thoughts.
Right.
Just not
okay.
Just that.
Let me just close with this. It is better for you to lose one part of your body than for your whole body to go into hell. Mm-hmm. So I would have to lose my mind.
Sorry. you
No,
like
no.
you've said, you've stepped away from those
Right,
things,
but it's step
and there's
away from and to
things-
know those
and
things.
to know that you've
Right.
done that,
Right.
because
Yes.
also asking for forgiveness
Yes.
is the biggest thing.
Very good. Very good.
We're gonna wrap this up here on this. So join us back for part 3. We have a few more.
Oh man.
Oh, they just.
You know, it's so good though.
It is.
Yeah.
I know we say it every time, but it is.
It's so good.
It's so good.
It's so good.
So make sure to like and follow, subscribe, all the good things, and come back for part 3 of chapter 5 of Matthew.
Unless we've scared you too much. Then take a break in between and then come back.
Right.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Bye.